Hey Frag fam, what is going on? I hope you guys are all doing well today. Elliot here and welcome back to the Fragrance Well. Not too long ago, did a video basically talking about niche quality. I approached that subject matter from the standpoint of the ingredients used, or maybe how well the ingredients come across. Do they smell fake? Do they smell real? Do they smell hyper real? All that. We're gonna come at it from a different standpoint for today. I'm gonna call this one true niche quality, where there's just that X factor. This is going to be a video focusing on niche fragrances that have something about them that just separates them from 99% of the designer fragrances. And by the way, this is something that is often intentional from the perfumer or the brand, or a combination of both, where they literally do something that is kind of out of the box, or maybe just adds a little bit of a head scratcher kind of thing to the average person that makes it niche. This is not an absolute rule for niche fragrances. I do believe that there are many niche fragrances that don't necessarily do this. Matter of fact, a lot of them don't necessarily do this, but the 8 I've got in today's video definitely do. And of course, I will point out why. So I don't want to hold you guys too long. Let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. But before we do, as always, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you do like the content. Also hit that bell icon, enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. And of course, I will leave links to these fragrances down in the description below if they are available. Let's get into it. All right, guys, to kick it off, we got one from Mind Games. This is going to be Scholar's Mate. Mind Games, Scholar's Mate. All right, so I'm kind of cheating with this fragrance here because I actually had the opportunity to talk to the perfumer of this fragrance, Christelle Laprade, one of the main perfumers for the House of Mind Games. Her and the house did like a tour 1 or 2 years ago where, you know, you had the opportunity to schedule a chance to meet with her and just kind of talk about the fragrances. This was before a lot of the more recent releases, but you get the point. Anyway, she didn't necessarily say it about this fragrance in particular, but she did mention one of their fragrances where, hey, I had to kind of throw this in there, that in there, to kind of make the fragrance more niche, right? So that just kind of confirms that fragrance houses and perfumers do this. So with this fragrance here, the main thing is this is a smoky, spicy, woody fragrance that kind of has a little bit of a similarity to the nose to Santal 33 from Le Labo. Now, Santal 33 is not a designer fragrance. It is its own version of niche, and I think even that one you could say very much represents a real niche fragrance. But this one I would say is even more niche than Santal 33. Why? Santal 33 has that clean, creamy, fresh woodiness. This one adds an element of fig milk in here, which really just makes it even that much more niche. I mean, you don't really think a heavy, woody fragrance that has a good amount of smokiness and a ton of spice with some fig milk. I mean, that all of that together just sounds like a full-blown niche idea. But, you know, the thing about it is I'm not just calling it niche for niche's sake. It does work, in my opinion. This fragrance smells excellent, even though it is one of the lesser known, lesser hyped, should I say, Mind Games fragrances. So once again, from Mind Games, this is Scholar's Mate. All right, guys, next one's going to be coming from Orto Parisi. This is Terroni. Orto Parisi, Terroni. Okay, so the reason I wanted to feature this fragrance is another thing I think can make a niche fragrance truly niche and separated from most designers is something that maybe makes you think of a very specific concept that we don't really associate with wanting to smell good. So what does this fragrance do to kind of check that box? This one literally smells like volcanic soil, scorched earth, volcanic ash, charcoal even, with this slight warm, rich, resinous, even fruity kind of aspect. It's peppery, it's spicy, it's woody, it's earthy, and it does just kind of remind me of volcanic soil. And matter of fact, if you look at the cap, see if I can get that in focus, it kind of looks like a piece of charcoal. It looks like scorched wood or earth. So that is, at least to my knowledge, the inspiration for this fragrance. That alone is not something you are inherently going to find in 99% of the designer releases. That doesn't mean there's not smoky, woody, earthy designer fragrances, but do they really hone in on a concept like that? You know, volcanic soil? Not necessarily. That makes this fragrance, in my opinion, very, very niche. So once again, from Orto Parisi, this is Terroni. Okay, guys, next one's going to be coming from Xerjoff, and this is going to be Kemi. Xerjoff, Kemi. All right, so with this one, in terms of being really, really niche, I think what it does is it takes two polar opposite things pretty much to the extreme and combines them together into one fragrance, and somehow it really, really works. So what am I talking about? If you've heard me talk about the scent, you already know, or if you're familiar with the scent. This is a very sweet, sugary, fruity fragrance. Kind of has this like sugary strawberry syrup kind of smell to it, with like warm caramel. And what is it combined with? The complete opposite. Funky, pissy, poopy, fecal, barnyard burning hay kind of notes. I mean, there's like Historium in here. There's civet in here. There's a funky oud in here. And the thing is, it is definitely noticeable, particularly when you spray it heavy or spray it on skin. But the magic of this scent is in the air. Both of those elements really, really balance out, and it smells outstanding. Now, that being said, it's not going to be for everyone. Some people don't want any elements of funky fragrance notes on their skin at all. I completely understand that. And that's why I say this is really a true niche release, because of those two elements. I can't think of, I'm not saying there isn't one, but I can't think of a designer fragrance that took that kind of approach and tried to market it as something that a lot of people would buy. All right, once again, from Xerjoff, this one here is Kemi. Okay, this next one's going to be coming from Ramon Monegal. This is going to be La Isla Blanca EDP. Ramon Monegal, La Isla Blanca EDP. I'm only pointing out EDP because the EDT is the original iteration, and I think that's discontinued. I would love to check that one out, but I'd have to visit somebody that actually has it. Anyway, why did I put this one on this list? Kind of the same situation with Terroni, except this one's more of a location. Well, actually, that was the same thing with that one. This is a location, very specific location. I believe this translates to the white beach. So think white sandy beach with beachy notes, a little bit of coconut like vibe in this. There's some booziness, like kind of like a rum like booziness in here. There's green notes, so like palm trees and green shrubbery you might find on an island or a beach. There's kind of a really tart fruitiness to this. There's even like a note of dates in here to add another element of just exotic nature to this scent. Summertime banger, a favorite of a lot of people. Really a specific fragrance. I mean, this one here is really transporting you somewhere. I'm not saying designer fragrances don't do that, but in general, their purpose is not to transport you somewhere with the scent. That's a very, very niche thing. So to me, this fragrance here is a true niche representation of perfumery. So once again, from Ramon Monegal, this is La Isla Blanca EDP. All right, this next one's going to be coming from Frappan. This is going to be 1270. Frappan 1270. So a couple of reasons I wanted to put this one on here. Number one, I think this fragrance is very intentional in what it is trying to portray, but also this is more of a coverage of the entire house, the house of Frappan. As far as I know, either all of or almost all of their fragrances are centered around boozy notes, since Frappan is actually a booze company as far as I know. So with this one here, you could say this one is more so like, how do I say it? Think wine gathering, a wine tasting. This one kind of reminds me of that. It has a little bit of the boozy element that maybe might make you think of a wine tasting or even a whiskey tasting, but there's also like some hors d'oeuvre and snack fruity elements. So think like nuts, things like grapes, things like dried fruits. That element is kind of also present in here. Maybe a little bit of honey to go on top of some cheese. Now, it doesn't smell like cheese. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't smell like that with the fragrance, but it has smells that kind of set that overall vibe. These are things you may come across at a wine tasting. Maybe, not all wine tastings have food. But anyway, yeah, that's the overall vibe of this scent. And it's meant to, I think, take you to a specific place, a specific location, a specific mindset. And frankly, it does it very, very well. And again, the entire house is doing that in different ways. So once again, from Frappan, this is 1270. All right, guys, next one's going to be coming from Goldfield and Banks. We're going to go with Purple Suede. Goldfield and Banks, Purple Suede. All right, so a couple of reasons I wanted to put this fragrance on this list. Number one, the overall composition of the fragrance, I think, comes across as niche. But a little bit more importantly, you think about the house of Goldfield and Banks, I think they do a little bit of both in terms of having fragrances that actually have a mass appeal. They just happen to come from a niche company. And they also have some fragrances that one would call true niche fragrances This one is that, in my opinion. So what is this? In case you're unfamiliar, this is slightly spicy, but kind of a fruity blueberry lavender smell, the fruitiest lavender smell I've come across so far, mixing with a very present and almost oily suede-like leather. I think the suede, part of the suede notes that are in here, or the leather notes, are actually from an aroma chemical, so that's probably why they're so present, and probably why it's so noticeable, in my opinion. But what's also blended in here, this also has notes of civet. This also has like a little bit of a funky oud in it. Now, you wouldn't really notice it unless you spray it really, really heavily, or you spray it on your skin and you immediately bring it to your nose. It doesn't necessarily come across that way in the air. In the air, it's very, very balanced, and I think those, you know, kind of more niche elements, the civet and the oud, is there to just kind of help push the fragrance off the skin a little bit and have a little bit more weight, a little bit more depth to it. But the combination of a fruity lavender with leather is not too common, or if it is, it's not common in the way this fragrance portrays it, in my opinion. So I think this composition is truly, truly niche. So once again, from the house of Goldfield and Banks, this is Purple Suede. All right, guys, this next one's gonna be coming from Parfum d'Empire. We have got Ambre Russe. Parfum d'Empire Ambre Russe. All right, so with this fragrance, this one is pretty much going to be about the composition, I think, coming across truly, truly niche, because this is the only fragrance I've smelled from the house. So I can't speak to the rest of the house right now, as far as I know. Got quite a few releases, but I'll just have to check them out at some point. But this one here is an amber fragrance inspired by what many would consider the original amber, which is Ambre Russe. I forget the brand name. I don't think I know how to pronounce it. But Ambre Russe, considered to be like the original Amber Accord fragrance. If you've ever smelled Ambre Russe, it's completely different from the typical designer amber fragrance. And if I'm being honest, the majority of even niche amber fragrances. This is a style of amber that's just not that prominent anymore, and is very specific to that original amber fragrance. It's a lot more powdery. It's the Amber Accord is. It's a lot more powdery. It's a lot more fluffy. Doesn't quite have as much of the sweetness. There's even like this, I don't know, man. It's kind of, you kind of just have to get your nose on it, because I couldn't describe it until I smelled it. It's just a different form of amber. It's just not that warm vanillic amber we're used to. But this fragrance also has like some spice, some leathery notes as well, some woody notes, some tea notes even in it. It's very much a fragrance that is paying homage to that original Ambre Russe. In my opinion, that original Amber Accord is very, very niche, because I doubt there is, I could be wrong, but I doubt there's a designer fragrance out there that smells anything like that original amber. Well, maybe not even the designer houses. Later Amber Accords, they found a way to make it a lot more mass appealing, a lot more warm, a lot more inviting. This smells awesome, but it kind of smells awesome in a collector's way. The average person wouldn't really find this that appealing, in my opinion. So this fragrance here is truly niche. So once again, from Parfum d'Empire, this is Ambre Russe. All right, guys, last fragrance is going to be coming from Maison Crivelli, and it's going to be Patchouli Magnetik. Maison Crivelli Patchouli Magnetik. Just a quick side note, this house definitely puts out fragrances that many would consider truly niche, because some of them have that mass appeal. Others are very, very challenging to a lot of people. This one falls in the latter category. Real quick, what is this scent? Patchouli is definitely in here, as the name suggests, but it's this really fruity, kind of artificial fruity smelling, in my opinion. Fruity, super sweet patchouli fragrance, where the patchouli is very, very forward. I kind of find it to be this very leafy patchouli with like an earthy base to it, but it lacks that chocolatey nature you can get from a lot of patchoulis. Sometimes I don't really find that is present in here. And really, it's the opening of this fragrance that throws people. Once it really dries down and settles, it smells amazing. It just smells like a earthy, sweet fragrance. As a matter of fact, even the sweetness comes down a little bit, but it's just not a fragrance for everyone, as many people know. This was perfumed by Quentin Biche. I don't always give a shout out to the perfumer directly. I usually just kind of put it in the B-roll, but I think Quentin Biche is one of those perfumers who kind of understands the differences between a mass appealing scent and a true niche scent very, very well. Why? He's got a lot of fragrances that display that facet very, very clearly. This one here, very, very niche. People either love the scent or they hate it. He's got plenty of fragrances that people either love it or hate it. But he's also got super mass appealing fragrances out there that are very, very popular and very, very successful. So he can do both. And as far as this fragrance is concerned, this one truly very, very niche. So once again, from Mason Crivelli, this is Patchouli Magnetik. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up for this video. If you would like to, let me know down in the comments below. What are some fragrances that you would consider true niche fragrances? In other words, the chance of a designer fragrance house putting that niche fragrance into a bottle and mass marketing it is almost zero. That is a true niche fragrance. Would love to see what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. I really do appreciate you all. Please remember to be well and smell well. And I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.